I thought I was a beta, destined to remain ordinary. Then came the secondary differentiation into Omega. Suddenly every alpha on campus started flocking to me like moths to a flame. Ethan would glower and chase them off, his jaw clenched tight enough to crack walnuts. The day I argued with Ethan during his rut cycle, I immediately turned to online forums for advice. If your alpha actually let you walk away, he's definitely lacking in certain departments. He must really love you. Most would have had you pregnant by morning. Classic friends to lovers arc. First besties, then boyfriends, soon to be husbands. Ugh, not another sappy couple. Next, my cheeks burned hotter than the Georgia asphalt in July. Everything changed after freshman year physicals. The physician adjusted her glasses. Clinical tone belying the bombshell. You're entering late-stage Omega differentiation. Without proper alpha support during the transition, the process could become challenging. The words blurred on the medical report. Differentiation in progress, stamped in damning black ink. My mind reeled. Omega? Me? Luke, who'd coasted through 19 years as an utterly unremarkable beta. The lemon-scented iced tea in my hand suddenly made sense. Ethan's telltale pheromones had been teasing my senses for weeks, his protective arm brushing mine in crowded hallways. The way his storm cloud gray eyes tracked my every move during basketball practice. Back in the dorm, my neck glands pulsed with unnatural heat. Noah froze mid-snack run, nostrils flaring. Dude, his Doritos bag hit the floor with a crunch. Are you leaking citrus? I fumbled for the suppressant patch he tossed me. The adhesive barely touched my skin before Noah started hollering. Holy shit, late blooming Omega? This is like those trashy romance novels my sister reads. As the only experienced Omega in our dorm, Noah became my impromptu coach. First rule, stop eye-fucking Ethan's biceps during chem lab. His alpha instincts can probably smell your hormones from across campus. My traitorous mind replayed yesterday's incident, Ethan's calloused fingers accidentally grazing mine while passing lab equipment, the way his leather jacket smelled like safety and trouble all at once. The suppressant patch itched against my damp neck. Somewhere across campus, Ethan slammed another overeager alpha's locker shut hard enough to dent the metal. His growl carried down the hallway. Luke isn't your damn mating project. The campus grapevine buzzed louder than a beehive. Unstable Omega. Ethan playing guard dog. Everyone waited to see when Ethan's legendary control would snap, and whether I'd still be standing when it did. Noah propped his head in his hands, muttering thoughtfully, maybe we should ask Ethan for help? He's literally every Omega's dream alpha, undisputed top tier. You've no idea how many people thirst over him. I knew exactly how popular Ethan was. During basketball games, the screaming crowds could practically blow the roof off the gymnasium. But how could I possibly ask him? We'd been best friends since diapers. The words stuck in my throat. After pulling an all-nighter cramming ABO biology, I discovered Omegas in pre-heat could alleviate symptoms using an alpha's personal belongings. A wild idea struck me. Steal. No. Borrow some clothes. But wouldn't that make me a creep? Survival first. Dignity later. When Ethan tossed me his jacket during the next tournament, I clutched it like a lifeline. Since when did you become my personal cheerleader? He teased, sweat glistening on his tanned arms. Hey, we're bros. I forced a grin, inhaling the crisp lemon and laundry scent woven into the fabric. My racing pulse steadied for the first time in days. Post-game, I brought him water. Sunlight haloed his damp golden hair as he gulped the bottle, throat working. My breath hitched when his clean cedarwood pheromones washed over me. Your jacket got dirty, I blurted, clutching the garment. I'll wash it. Ethan glanced at the barely visible stain. Don't bother. He snatched it back, leaving me panicking in the locker room. That night, I committed the unthinkable, snuck into his dorm and stole the sweatshirt draped over his chair. The lingering traces of his scent wrapped around me like a security blanket. Desperation trumped shame. You took my clothes. Ethan materialized at my doorway next morning, voice deceptively calm. My palms slicked with sweat as he advanced, predatory gaze pinning me against the wall. The truth. Now, when I stammered about impending Omega differentiation and needing alpha assistance, his pupils dilated. Cedarwood pheromones spiked. overwhelming my senses as he caged me against the plaster. You want my help? His breath scorched my ear, low and rough. Do you even understand what an Omega's pheromones do to an alpha? Stealing my scent. You're playing with fire, Luke, but you're my... The protest died as his teeth grazed my bonding gland. My knees buckled, heat flooding my veins. Ethan caught me mid-collapse, his frantic shouts muffled against my hair. Luke, damn it, open your eyes. His arms tightened possessively as darkness swallowed me whole. Luke, I don't know how many days I'd been unconscious. When I finally opened my eyes, the first thing I saw was Ethan's exhausted face. He sat beside the hospital bed with dark circles under his eyes and stubble shadowing his jawline, looking utterly drained. Hearing me stir, Ethan immediately pressed the call button. Doctors soon flooded in, running tests before declaring I could be discharged that afternoon. Take it easy these next few days, the physician said while avoiding eye contact. Physical contact with your partner, hugging, kissing will help stabilize your condition. Just be safe. You're fertile now. Heat rushed to my cheeks as I ducked under the thin hospital blanket, too mortified to correct his assumption. Ethan returned with medications and began packing my belongings. Thanks for everything. Couldn't have gotten through this without my bro, I mumbled, guilt twisting in my gut. His hand settled on my head in response, fingers accidentally brushing the sensitive gland at my nape. I shuddered violently. News of my secondary gender had spread like wildfire. My parents were rushing back from overseas, while my entire social dynamic imploded overnight. Teammates who once treated me as one of the guys now stared with mixed reactions. Some shocked, others teasing, a few even envious. Never pegged you for an Omega. Luke, you hit it well. Man, if I'd known sooner. Since when did you get all delicate? Luke, I hurled a textbook at the last commentator. Screw you. I'm still the top Omega around here. Got it? The unwanted attention escalated quickly. Alphas started coincidentally occupying neighboring desks, leaving rose-scented letters in my locker. One particularly bold upperclassman cornered me after chemistry class. Free tonight? Coffee's on me. Before I could refuse, an arm draped possessively across my shoulders. He's busy. Ethan's voice dropped to a warning growl as his glacial stare swept over the intruder. The alpha paled and practically sprinted down the hallway. You didn't have to scare him off like that, I protested weakly, though my racing pulse betrayed relief. Ethan's protectiveness became suffocating. He materialized beside me during lunch, causing any nearby alphas to flee like startled deer. When friends roughhoused with him in the commons, his mere presence at the doorway silenced the room. Jesus, did you see Wilson's death glare? Someone whispered after we left. Total power couple vibes. Those two, match made in heaven. Something fundamental had shifted between us since my presentation. Ethan's slingering glances carried new intensity, his casual touches lingering a beat too long. That evening, riding in the Wilson family's town car to our parents' dinner, the air felt charged. The vehicle smelled of my favorite sea salt caramel popcorn. Ethan typed furious lie in his laptop. His father had been testing him with corporate projects lately, all off which he'd crushed within weeks. Typical overachiever. Want some? I offered the snack bag, trying to ignore how his sharp profile glowed in the dashboard lights. Ethan's fingers paused above the keyboard. The abrupt silence felt heavier than any words as his storm gray eyes locked onto mine, pupils dilating slightly. My breath hitched. He looked hungry. Forget it. I stood up and moved closer to him, holding a cookie to his lips. His mouth was perfectly shaped, not too full nor thin, with a rosy tint. Ethan opened his mouth to accept it. You bit my finger. Sorry, didn't notice. His tone remained casual while I overreacted, sounding oddly guilty. I jerked my hand back and curled against the window, feeling my skin burn. Damn it. Inappropriate images flooded my mind. Luke, how could you harbor such thoughts about your best friend? You've changed. At dinner, our parents chatted animatedly while I focused on devouring my food. Ethan placed peeled shrimp into my bowl, making me secretly thrilled. I loved shrimp but hated peeling them. Both sets of parents suddenly fell silent, staring at us. My mom, don't you think Ethan and Luke look perfect together? Mrs. Wilson. Absolutely. How about we? I cut them off immediately. How could they misunderstand our relationship? If Ethan's first love found out, I'd be the villain. Mom, stop talking nonsense. We're just bros. Totally platonic. Besides, I already like someone else. I slapped Ethan's shoulder emphatically, playing up the buddy act. Ethan paused mid-shrimp peel, smiling faintly. Since when do you have a crush? I'll tell you later. I whispered near his ear. Okay. His voice shook slightly. The parents dropped the subject after that. Post-dinner, Ethan vanished. I searched everywhere, anxiety creeping in. Was he upset? I stood in the yard staring at the stars when familiar footsteps approached. Why are you alone here? Ethan's low voice carried warmth. Looking for you. I turned to meet his gaze, dark eyes holding unspoken secrets. Luke, he murmured, do you really like someone? I hesitated. His proximity brought scents of lemon, cigarette smoke, and an unfamiliar Omega fragrance. I stepped back just as I spotted the familiar figure behind him. So he'd gone to see his first love after all. Oliver approached to greet me. Even as a beta, he'd always been stunning, soft-spoken with dimpled smiles. The exact type alphas like Ethan adored. Didn't expect to bump into Ethan here. We just chatted a bit. I mumbled agreement. His voice really was velvet. Well, I'll leave you two to talk. I couldn't interrupt whatever was happening between those two. Discretion being the better part of valor. I turned to slip away. Before taking 2 steps, Ethan yanked me back by my hoodie. His stormy expression darkened as he snapped at Ollie. We're leaving. We'll discuss that matter later. He dragged me by the hood like a misbehaving kitten. You idiot. Let go, Ethan. You're choking me. My protests earned me being tossed into his passenger seat. The door slammed with finality as he ignited the engine, knuckles white on the steering wheel. The suffocating silence thickened with the bitter edge of bergamot, his pheromones spiking uncontrollably. I counted the rigid lines of his jaw, the way his lips pressed into a blade-thin seam. 3 traffic lights passed before I dared whisper, Ethan, your pheromones. The throbbing at my scent gland intensified, a relic from presenting in his presence years ago. Tears welled as my voice cracked. Ethan, it hurts. Tires screeched against asphalt. He jammed an inhibitor pen into his thigh with clinical precision. The sudden citrus burst of my distress pheromones, lemon and strawberry, making him flinch. Get out, he ground out, avoiding my eyes. Lock the doors until my driver comes. He disappeared into the night. 3 days of radio silence later, I stood at the Wilsons' wrought iron gates clutching a care package. Noah blocked my path, his kind eyes tight. Luke, please, is Ethan dying? Just tell me. My wheedling failed against his stonewalling. Desperation drove me to the overgrown dog door we discovered as kids. Humiliation burned my cheeks as I army crawled through decades of spiderwebs. His bedroom door loomed like a tomb. The air itself curdled with violent pheromones. Dark chocolate laced with gunpowder. My knees buckled. The door flew open before I knocked. Iron arms hauled me into pitch darkness. His heartbeat thundered against my ear, his grip crushing. Stop squirming, he rasped, voice raw. Textbook Omega calming techniques seemed logical until my pheromones flooded the room. A candy shop explosion. Ethan recoiled like I'd brandished a weapon. You suicidal idiot? He roared, pupils blown wide with primal hunger. Tears spilled as I hurled painkillers and his favorite jerky at him. I hate you. Noah's shout followed my fleeing footsteps. Code black. The Ethan I knew would have caught me, would have whispered apologies into my hair. This feral stranger didn't even call my name. Back in middle school, when my grades were terrible and I couldn't keep up with classes, I'd trail behind Ethan after school with my backpack. Though he wore that aloof expression, he'd slow his steps to wait for me. Ethan, I didn't understand today's math problems. Can you help me later? I'd widen my eyes and tug his sleeve, a trick that always worked when he claimed to be busy. Those late-night study sessions often ended with me staying over. I'd grab my pajamas from his closet, shower quickly, and slip into bed thrilled to share his room again. When final grades came, I sprinted to his classroom waving my report card. He'd praise my progress while I stared at the first place ranking on his own transcript. The gap between slacker and straight a student remained real. High school brought bigger changes after he presented as alpha. I discovered pink love letters in his backpack one day. Oh, secret admirers? I teased with gossipy eyes. Ethan wordlessly stuffed the envelopes into his desk drawer and resumed homework. That's when he stopped letting me sleep in his bed, having Uncle Wilson convert the guest room next door. We didn't speak for 2 days over that. Now Ethan's become distant. Back in my dorm, I vented online. My alpha friend's been super aggressive during his rut. Just told me to get lost. Should I cut ties? Comments flooded in frowny face AB or O. Omega. The tone shifted instantly. Frowny face, you approached a rutting alpha as an Omega? Lucky you walked out at all. What did that mean? He literally kicked me out. I sent an angry emoji. Your alpha let you leave? Damn, that's weak. He must really care. Most would have claimed you that night. Ugh, dog food couple alert. Next. My brain short-circuited connecting the dots. Ears burning. I typed, we're just friends. Shared bunk beds growing up. Classic plot. Best friend, boyfriend, husband. Called it. Ew. Friend zone forever. Tossing my phone aside, I mentally exhausted myself. Maybe I misjudged Ethan. Ruts make alphas dangerous. Still, apologizing felt impossible. When Ethan camped outside my dorm days later, I made Noah bring my meals upstairs. Seriously? He's been here all week. Noah elbowed me during lunch. Nope. I mumbled through chicken drumstick. Fight or something? He prodded. We weren't wrong. Just stuck. I shook my head. That afternoon's class forced me downstairs. Ethan sprang up from the courtyard bench the moment I appeared. He stood frozen before me, clutching a paper bag. Just the packaging told me it was from that bakery I adored, the one located 2 hours away by car. I kept my hands at my sides. I'm sorry, Luke. This is all my fault. Last time you did nothing wrong. No apologies needed. I glanced at my watch. With class starting in 3 minutes, I bolted toward the lecture hall. The bell rang as I slid into my seat. This professor's notorious for docking grades if you're even 10 seconds late. Noah nudged me, jerking his chin toward the hallway window. Ethan stood outside clutching that damn pastry box. I pretended not to notice, focusing on the lecture. When class ended, the corridor held no trace of Ethan. Instead, Ollie leaned against the lockers, holding the familiar pink bakery box. Luke, he greeted, following my gaze to the dessert. Ethan asked me to give you. I walked away mid-sentence. These days, just hearing Ethan's name made my chest tighten with this awful, tangled feeling. What was I supposed to say? That I'd finally realized first love could be transferred like some damn hand-me-down sweater? At Noah's birthday dinner that weekend, he hesitated. I invited Ethan. You're cool with that, right? Why wouldn't I be? Your party, your rules. The relief on his face almost made me laugh. Through 3 courses, I focused on dissecting my steak while the guy next to me kept refilling my plate with garlic mashed potatoes. I'm stuffed. I finally snapped. Ethan's hovering hand stilled. He just sat there watching me eat like some creepy human surveillance camera. Whatever, his hunger strike wasn't my problem. Later at karaoke, I grabbed a beer from the cooler during Mariah Carey's 5th Octave Death Wail. The crisp citrus tang surprised me, way better than those syrupy sodas everyone else was drinking. Luke, stop. Ethan tried prying the bottle from my grip. I sank my teeth into his wrist. The room tilted deliciously as liquid courage surged through me. Then his whisper cut through the haze. Your pheromones are showing. Ice water flooded my veins. I slapped both hands over the scent gland at my nape before face-planting into Ethan's hoodie, using the fabric as a makeshift scent blocker. His heartbeat thundered against my ear. Obnoxiously loud. Really, until darkness swallowed me whole. Sunlight stabbed my eyeballs. Jesus Christ. Noah and 3 dorm mates loomed over my bed like vultures. My roommate waved his phone with gleeful menace. Bill, since when are you and Ethan a thing? What? We're not. My sleep-fogged brain buffered. Don't even try denying it. He hit play. On screen, drunk me yanked Ethan's collar and smashed our mouths together with the grace of a rabid raccoon. The floor vanished beneath me. You're telling me with Ethan? Noah nodded solemnly while the others howled. My stomach dropped faster than a lead balloon. Holy hell, I'd French-kissed the human equivalent of a marble statue. In public, while reeking of citrus IPA. Femelle. In the dimly lit corner where no one paid attention, I grabbed Luke by the collar and pulled him close, pressing my lips to his without hesitation. His eyelashes fluttered faintly, panic and unease flickering through his gaze as trembling fingers hovered between pushing me away and surrendering. Alcohol had devoured my rationality. By the time others noticed, it was already over. I tossed my phone across the room and buried my face back into the pillows, fingertips brushing burning cheeks and slightly swollen lips. Holy shit. What had I done last night? Taking advantage of someone? And Luke Carter of all people. My roommates exchanged knowing smirks but mercifully stayed silent. Reaching for my buzzing phone, I found 99+ notifications. My hand shook as I opened Luke's chat. 12:03 a.m. I know you don't want to see me right now. I'll apologize properly when you've cooled down. Don't drink again. I'll have hangover soup delivered tomorrow. 1:17 a.m. Canceled your morning classes. Sleep in. 3:45 a.m. Don't kick off the blankets tonight. 4:30 a.m. 5:12 a.m. The messages continued until half an hour before I woke. The idiot had stayed up all night texting. My traitorous heart pounded against my ribs. This was insane. I'd crossed lines that shattered our easy camaraderie. Yet when I'd discovered Luke's love letter to Noah Davis last month, I'd started keeping my distance. Knew he had feelings for someone else. Yet my pulse still raced whenever he got too close. Ethan, our class representative, blocked my path after afternoon lectures. Can we talk? Sure. He fidgeted, words sticking in his throat. So, are you seeing anyone? Every alarm bell rang in my skull. No, I said carefully, but there's someone I like. The light died in his eyes. Oh, then, would you accept this? He offered a gift bag with trembling hands, ribbon trembling. Just between friends? Before I could refuse, Luke materialized from the back doorway, dragging me away with stormy eyes. His grip tightened as I stumbled to keep pace. You like him that much? Luke's voice cracked. I liked you first. You know, you kissed me last night, held me. You can't just pretend it didn't happen. I'm sorry for yelling before. I was scared of hurting you. Please don't shut me out. Dark circles shadowed his eyes from the sleepless night. My throat tightened. He said so much that I couldn't process it all. Resting his head on my shoulder, his body trembled slightly. Wait, are you crying? Ethan turned his face away, leaving me flustered. I stepped in front of him, but he kept pivoting, cupping his cheeks. I saw his reddened nose and watery eyes, utterly pitiful. I rejected that guy earlier because I didn't like him. Really? Yeah. Ethan, is your rut not over yet? His current fragile state contrasted sharply with his usual composure. His teary, vulnerable expression sparked wicked thoughts in me. The urge to tease him mercilessly. They say alpha ruts last forever. Ethan, you said you like me, right? Do you like me as a beta or as an omega? Now it was his turn to panic. Both. I yanked his collar down, capturing his lips. He retaliated fiercely, only relenting when I begged, panting against his chest. My mouth throbbed, but my heart felt sweeter than honey. The moment I stepped into the dorm, my roommates cornered me. Spill it, where have you been? Holy shit. Luke's lips are swollen. Looks like someone went to town on him. Still dizzy from confessing with Ethan, I blurted everything. Noah crunched an apple, drawling, didn't you say Ethan had a first love named Ollie? His words snapped me back to reality. I'd forgotten about Ollie. Last time, they'd seemed close. I called Ethan from the hallway. Baby, I can't tell you about Ollie yet, but I swear I don't like him. Really. His anxious voice convinced me. Trusting your boyfriend matters, right? A month post-presentation, my doctor ordered follow-up tests. Ethan had a game, so I went alone. Your gland developed perfectly. Just monitor your upcoming heat. Have your boyfriend assist you. Grabbing my report, I headed out and collided with Ollie in a hospital gown, pale and shaking. A nurse handed him paperwork. Sign here for the termination. His trembling pen hovered. My stomach dropped reading the maternity ward sign. You're pregnant? Where's your alpha? What kind of bastard lets their Omega abort alone? Ollie wiped tears. I'm fine. His forced bravery made me curse that asshole Alpha silently. Worried about leaving him alone, I called Ethan and he said he'd arrive soon. I handed Luke a mug of hot water. Have you really thought this through? It's still your child. My voice trailed off, knowing I had no right to say this. If I ever find that deadbeat, I'll punch his lights out. Ollie finally cracked a smile. Thanks, Luke. I've made my choice. This was my decision alone. He didn't know. Guess it wasn't meant to be. When the nurse called Ollie, he stood up, his slender frame disappearing down the hallway. Suddenly, bodyguards surrounded us. I shielded Ollie behind me as a man in a tailored black suit approached, fury burning in his eyes. Come here, Ollie. The trembling fingers clutching my jacket tightened. I glared at Alex. Look at you. All fancy suits but acting like gutter trash. The bodyguards flinched as I launched into a tirade. Alex kept his gaze locked on Ollie. I won't ask twice. The mountain-sized guards advanced, their tattooed arms flexing. What kind of crowd was Ollie mixed up with? Mr. Brown. Ethan's smooth voice cut through the tension as he arrived, pulling me into a side hug. You're scaring my boy. Since when do you know scumbags like him? I hissed. Ethan smirked at Alex. Probably the first person ever to call the Brown heir a deadbeat. Later, baby. Let them sort this out. 10 minutes later, Ollie emerged from the private room with Alex. Their hostility softened. Thanks for having my back, Luke. But what about the... My eyes dropped to his stomach. Ollie touched his abdomen gently. I'm giving us another shot. We've been through too much. His new diamond ring glittered as Alex helped him into the limo. Took you long enough, Ethan grumbled, watching them leave. I nearly became an uncle. Turned out that letter I'd found months ago wasn't from some secret lover. It was Alex's unread confession to Ollie. No mysterious ex. No hidden romance. Do you think he'll sue me for cussing him out? Ethan nuzzled my neck. Try anyone, and they'll answer to me. His fingers traced my spine. When do I get to be? Call me Daddy anytime, son. He flipped me over his shoulder mid-laugh, landing a sharp smack on my backside. You're begging for trouble tonight. True to his word, I didn't leave his bed until morning. Ethan, were you raised by wolves? I tugged at his oversized shirt, the collar slipping to reveal fresh bite marks. When I tried kicking him off the mattress, he caught my ankle. You're sleeping on the floor. My first heat hit like a freight train that night. Sweat, soaked and shaking. I dialed Ethan through chattering teeth. He burst through the door in 4 minutes flat. Ethan, I choked out between waves of burning pain. I've got you. His voice strained with restraint as alpha pheromones flooded the room. Sharp citrus with an undercurrent of something darker. Is that lemon? I gasped, nails digging into his shoulders. Ethan, bite me. Now. I initiated the request, and he showed no restraint. Our scents intertwined instantly. Ethan proposed to me at his graduation ceremony, making up for his confession in front of friends and family. I always knew they'd end up together. Let's pick a wedding date. In-laws. Absolutely. I blushed while calling her mom, protesting that I hadn't even graduated yet. During the engagement party, Ollie and Alex showed up. I instinctively hid behind Ethan, our fingers tightly interlaced. Ollie approached with his baby to congratulate us. My heart melted seeing the giggling infant in his arms. Ethan wrapped his arm around my waist, whispering hotly in my ear, "Want one? We could make our own." "Not with you," I huffed, dragging Ollie to a quiet corner. "You finally made it work with him." "Yeah." Ollie smiled. He defied his family for me and the baby. We're from different worlds but found our way. Seeing his tender expression when mentioning Alex's name reassured me. Open my gift tonight. His suggestive tone made me suspicious. Later, while Ethan showered, I unwrapped Ollie's present. Holy shit, black lace lingerie. Before I could hide it, Ethan emerged dripping wet, mischief blazing in his eyes. "Put it on, baby. I want to see." I threw the scandalous garment aside, but it somehow ended up on me anyway. Hours later, my arms felt like lead. Ethan looked thoroughly satisfied. "I love you, Luke. Get lost."